Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to help you get ready for an interview for a leather goods finishing operator position.
Yeah, it's a cool job. You get to work with your hands.
Yeah. Like you've learned the skills, right, and practiced, but then there's the interview.
That can be a little nerve-wracking.
Totally. So that's what we're here to help with. We've got some really good information from RoleCatcher's career and interview guides.
Yeah, and their AI tools can really give you an edge.
Totally. So we're going to go through common questions you might be asked, how to approach them, things you can do right now to boost your chances. You ready?
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
Okay. So first, what does a leather goods finishing operator even do?
Well, think about all those nice leather bags, wallets, suitcases. Someone makes them look that good.
Right.
That's you. Applying finishes, attaching handles, inspecting for quality.
Okay. I was looking at RoleCatcher's career guide, and they talked about some of the specific techniques. Ironing, creaming, or oiling the leather, waterproofing.
Yeah, those are all essential skills.
There's one that I thought was particularly interesting, though, called burning tips.
Oh yeah, burning tips. That's where you use a specialized tool to carefully melt and shape the edges of the leather. Gives it that polished, refined look. You need a really steady hand for that. An eye for detail.
So it sounds like this is a pretty detail-oriented job.
Oh, it is. It's a physical job, too. Sometimes repetitive, but
Yeah.
you get to work with beautiful materials. You see the results of your work. It's really rewarding.
That's cool. So what are some of the things that RoleCatcher highlighted as like the pros of this job?
Well, one of the biggest is that there's a lot of demand for these goods.
Right, because everyone loves nice leather goods.
Exactly. So that means there's a lot of opportunity for skilled artisans. You get to work with all sorts of different leathers, each with their own, characteristics and challenges.
Mm.
And you get to be creative. You're not just, following instructions. You're bringing your own artistry to the process.
Right. So it's not just like a factory job where you're doing the same thing over and over again.
You-
They mentioned one con, though, that it can be pretty physically demanding.
Oh, for sure. You're on your feet a lot using your hands. But hey, think of it as a built-in workout, right?
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's get into the part that probably makes people the most nervous, which is the interview. But luckily, we've got RoleCatcher's interview guide here. And they actually use real questions that employers ask.
Yeah, we're going to tackle these head on and give you the tools and the confidence to impress those hiring managers.
Love it. You ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, so one of the first questions they might ask is, describe your experience with leather finishing. Seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But you really want to make a strong first impression here.
Yeah, definitely. And even if you haven't worked formally as a leather finisher, don't let that discourage you. This is where you show your passion, your willingness to learn.
So even if you just kind of do things on the side as a hobby or you've watched a lot of YouTube tutorials, that all counts.
It totally does. Maybe you've experimented on an old belt or made a small pouch, even just taken really good care of your own leather goods.
The important thing is to show that genuine interest.
Exactly.
What made you get into leatherworking in the first place? Let that enthusiasm shine through.
Yeah. The interviewer wants to see that this isn't just another job for you. It's something you're really interested in.
Okay, so be ready for some follow-up questions, too. They might ask, what kind of leathers have you worked with, or your favorite finishing technique, the challenges you've faced.
For example, they might say, what type of leather have you worked with? And this is where you can show off your knowledge a little. Talk about the different types like full grain, top grain, suede, and maybe highlight some of their characteristics.
Or they might ask, what's your favorite finishing technique? And don't just say burnishing. Explain why you like it. The detail involved, the satisfaction you get when it's done right.
By being prepared for these follow-up questions, you're not only showing your knowledge, but also your ability to think on your feet.
That's a good point. Okay, so let's move on to another question. How do you ensure quality control in the finishing process?
Here's where your attention to detail and your commitment to quality really come into play.
You're the one who's making sure that those leather goods are absolutely perfect.
Right. So start by talking about the importance of inspecting each piece carefully. Look for any imperfections, inconsistencies in color or texture, flaws in the stitching or edge work.
What about using tools, like
Mhm.
gauges or anything to make sure things are accurate?
Absolutely. Mention those if you've used them. Shows that you're going beyond just eyeballing it. And don't forget to mention catching those little flaws before they become big problems.
Right.
Explain how you proactively identify and fix any potential issues early on.
That shows that you're thinking ahead and you really care about quality.
Exactly.
And again, be ready for those follow-up questions like, Have you ever had to reject a piece because it didn't meet quality standards?
That's a tough one, but it's a good opportunity to show your dedication to quality, even when it means making difficult decisions. You can describe the situation, the specific flaw, why it was a problem, and emphasize that you understand the importance of upholding those standards.
Okay. Another one that they might ask is, what's the toughest thing to spot during inspection? And I think by answering that, honestly, you're showing that you have a really deep understanding of the finishing process.
For sure.
Okay, let's move on. How do you prioritize and manage your workload? So even though this is a hands-on job, you still got to be organized.
Absolutely. It's about showing the interviewer that you can work efficiently, meet deadlines, handle multiple tasks. So, do you use to-do lists or project management apps or even a whiteboard to keep track of everything? Share your methods, and if you have any examples of how you've successfully managed multiple projects in the past, show those too.
Yeah, and talk about how you communicate. Can you work independently but also flag any problems to your supervisor?
Right, because that shows that you're a team player. And speaking of communication, think about how you would answer a question like, what's your approach if multiple deadlines hit at once? Or how do you handle interruptions?
Yeah.
This is where you can show your flexibility, your ability to adapt, and again, always maintain a positive attitude and focus on solutions.
Okay, let's try another one. How do you troubleshoot issues that might come up during the finishing process? Things don't always go as planned.
Right. This is all about your critical thinking skills. Have you ever come across a tricky problem with a particular finish? Or maybe you had to improvise a solution when a tool wasn't working correctly. Share an example that highlights your ability to analyze a situation, identify the root cause, and come up with a solution.
And it doesn't have to be a big dramatic story either. Even a small problem can showcase those skills if you can explain your thought process.
Exactly. And always remember, safety is paramount, especially when you're dealing with chemicals and potentially dangerous tools.
Yeah, if your example involves troubleshooting a safety issue, be sure to talk about the specific safety procedures that you followed.
Good point. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit. How do you stay up to date on industry trends and new finishing techniques?
Ooh, that's a good one. So, leatherworking's not a stagnant field. There's always new stuff coming out. So how do you stay ahead of the curve?
Right, so think about how you stay informed. Do you subscribe to any trade publications or websites? Follow industry blogs? Are you part of any online forums or communities?
What about workshops or conferences? Have you attended any to learn new techniques or experiment with new materials? Share your methods and your enthusiasm for continuous learning.
The interviewer wants to know that you're not just going to settle for what you already know.
Right, you want to keep growing and learning. Okay, let's tackle another question that dives into your experience. Can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a difficult issue during the finishing process? So this is kind of like story time, but the goal isn't just to tell a story. It's to highlight your skills and what you learned from that experience.
Right. Choose a specific situation where you faced a really challenging problem. What was the obstacle? What steps did you take to analyze the situation? How did you come up with potential solutions? Don't be afraid to mention any challenges you faced along the way. Did you have to change your approach? Try different techniques.
Or ask for help from other people.
Exactly. And what was the outcome? Were you able to solve the problem? What did you learn from it? Even if the outcome wasn't ideal, what did you learn? What would you do differently next time?
The interviewer is looking for someone who can learn from mistakes, adapt to challenges, and continuously improve their skills.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about efficiency. How do you ensure efficiency in the finishing process? Time is money, right? So employers want to know you can work quickly and get things done.
Right. So this is your chance to talk about how organized you are, how you manage your time. Do you have a system for organizing your tools and materials? Do you plan your tasks in a way that saves time? Have you developed any shortcuts or techniques that help you work faster without sacrificing quality? Share those strategies and explain how they contribute to a smooth workflow.
And don't forget to talk about how communication plays a role in efficiency.
Yeah.
Like, do you coordinate with your team to make sure things are moving smoothly?
Right. Do you keep your supervisor updated on any potential delays?
It's all about working together.
Exactly.
All right, another question that you might get is, can you describe your experience with different types of leather? This is where you can really nerd out a bit.
Yeah, I love this one. Think about all the different types of leather you've encountered. Their textures, grains, thicknesses, colors. Have you worked with full grain leather, suede, nubuck?
Be specific in your descriptions. Talk about the unique characteristics of each leather type, and maybe some of the challenges that they present during the finishing process.
Yeah, and if you've had the opportunity to work with some of the more exotic leathers, like ostrich or alligator, definitely mention that. Those require specialized skills and knowledge.
It's about showing that you're versatile and you can adapt your skills to different materials.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about safety. This is super important in leatherworking. How do you ensure safety during the finishing process? You're working with sharp tools, chemicals, and potentially dangerous machinery, so safety should always be a top priority.
Absolutely. So start by discussing the personal protective equipment, or PPE, that you use: gloves, safety glasses, a respirator, a dust mask. Explain why each one is important and how it protects you from specific hazards.
Right, like for example, gloves protect your hands from cuts and chemicals, while safety glasses protect your eyes from flying debris. What about ventilation?
Oh yeah, ventilation is really important, especially when you're working with solvents or other chemicals. Make sure to explain how you maintain proper airflow in your workspace to prevent the buildup of fumes.
And if you've had any specific safety training or certifications, definitely mention that.
Absolutely. They might also ask about things like how you handle spills or accidents or emergency procedures. So be prepared to talk about those things too.
Remember, safety isn't just about protecting yourself. It's about protecting everyone around you. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. I bet you're feeling more prepared already.
Yeah, but we're not done yet. We still need to talk about how to use RoleCatcher's AI tools to really refine your interview skills and make your applications stand out. But first, let's go through a few more of those interview questions. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll be.
For sure, practice makes perfect. So what happens if they ask about salary? What are your salary expectations? I feel like that one always throws people off.
Yeah, it can be tricky. You don't want to aim too low, but you also don't want to price yourself out of the job.
So how do you figure out what's reasonable?
Research is key. Before the interview, go online and check out sites like Glassdoor or Salary.com. See what other leather goods finishing operators in your area are making. Look at the salary ranges, consider the experience level, the location, even the size of the company.
Yeah, location can definitely make a difference.
Totally. And think about your own experience and qualifications too. Do you have any specialized skills or certifications that would justify asking for a higher salary?
It's not just about the money either, is it? Benefits are important too, and company culture, opportunities for growth.
Exactly. Sometimes a slightly lower salary might be worth it if the other perks are great. When you're actually talking about salary in the interview, be confident and clear. Show that you've done your research and you know your worth.
All right, what about this question? Why are you interested in this specific role at our company? Seems kind of obvious, but
Yeah, you got to be prepared to answer that one well. It's your chance to show that you're genuinely interested in this company, not just any leather working job.
so like do your research.
Exactly. Look at their website, read their mission statement, check out their social media. What do you like about their products or their craftsmanship? What about their values or their approach to sustainability?
It's like you're on a date, you want to impress them by showing that you've taken the time to learn about them.
Exactly. And then tie it back to yourself. How can you contribute to their success? What skills and strengths do you bring to the table?
So you're not just a fan of their work, you're the perfect person to help them continue doing great work.
Right. Okay. The classic strengths and weaknesses question. What are your strengths and weaknesses?
I think the weaknesses part is what trips people up.
It's not about being perfect. Everyone has weaknesses.
Yeah.
Choose one that you're actually working on improving and frame it positively.
So don't just say, I'm disorganized. Say something like, I'm working on improving my organizational skills by using a time management system.
Right. Shows that you're self-aware and proactive. And when you're talking about your strengths, back them up with examples. Don't just say, I'm hardworking. Tell them about a time when your hard work led to something great.
Yeah, show, don't tell. Okay, so then they might ask, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
This one's not about having a perfect plan. It's about showing your ambition and drive. Do you want to specialize in a particular type of leather finishing? Take on more responsibility. Mentor others.
How do your goals align with the company's goal?
Exactly. Show that you're thinking about the future, both yours and the company's.
Okay, another big one. Why should we hire you? It's like the final pitch.
Your chance to leave a lasting impression. Briefly recap your key skills, your experience, your passion for the craft. Why are you the best person for this job?
Remind them of everything you bring to the table and make it clear that you're ready to jump in and make a difference. All right, almost done. Do you have any questions for us? This isn't just a formality.
It's a real opportunity to learn more about the company, the role, the team, and it shows that you're engaged and interested. Have a few thoughtful questions ready.
About their company culture, team dynamics, responsibilities, anything like that.
And remember to listen carefully to their answers. This is a conversation. You're trying to see if it's a good fit for you too. Okay, enough interview questions for now. Let's talk about how RoleCatcher's AI tools can really boost your prep.
Yeah, this is where it gets really cool. So how does this AI actually help candidates stand out?
Well, it analyzes job descriptions to pinpoint the exact skills and keywords that employers are looking for. You know, those job postings can be kind of confusing sometimes.
Totally.
So it's not just about having a good resume, it's about having a resume that perfectly matches each job you apply for. And RoleCatcher's AI can help you do that. It suggests improvements, flags missing skills. It can even help you write better answers to those application questions.
Wow, that's amazing. What about practicing for the actual interview?
Well, they have a feature where you can record yourself answering common interview questions, and then the AI gives you feedback.
Whoa. So it's like having your own interview coach.
Exactly. And it's all tailored to the specific job you're applying for. It takes into account the company, the industry, everything.
So you're not just practicing in a vacuum. You're getting really specific feedback.
Right. By using these tools, you're not just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. You're actually taking control and increasing your chances of landing the job.
It's like having a secret weapon.
It's not about luck. It's about putting in the work and using all the tools available to you.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you don't get the first job you interview for, don't give up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Every interview is a learning experience, right?
Absolutely. You get to practice your skills and you get better each time.
And you get more comfortable with the whole process. So as you're getting ready for your interviews, remember, you've got this.
You do.
You've got the skills, the knowledge, the tools, and RoleCatcher can really help you out with the prep.
And don't forget that passion. Let that shine through and you'll be unstoppable.
Exactly. So here's something to think about. What do you think the future of leatherworking looks like?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What new technologies are going to come out? How will sustainability play a role?
It's an exciting time to be in this field.
It is.
There's so much potential.
So keep learning, keep experimenting, and keep that passion alive. Maybe someday you'll be the one inspiring the next generation of leatherworkers.
That's a great goal to have.
It is. All right, that's it for this deep dive. Best of luck with your job search. We know you're going to do great.
We do.